portion. Equal portion. Equal portion. Equal portion.
Afternoon, all. I'm your host, Seychelle Amira, and welcome back to another episode of Equal Portions. Today, we're going to continue our discussion on the Food Justice Film Festival, followed by the story of food. And as you know, the election is this Tuesday. So we'll be speaking on the importance of voting. And as always, we're going to play the best music from within the DMV. We're going to start off with a couple of tunes and then head right into our discussion.
Morning comes, my people start to rise in time. Start your engines and drive, drive, drive. You've got nowhere to go, you've got no home. I'll be a shepherd, I'll save you from the road.
That was Lot 18 with Firefly and Crystal Casino Band with Circles with You. Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for joining us. This week, our producer, Jasmine Lawrence, returns as we continue our discussion on the Food Justice Film Festival. Today, we are covering the second film, Dolores. This film originally came out in 2017, but is being refeatured at the festival. It was directed by Peter Bratt and produced by Peter Bratt, Brian Benson, and Benjamin Bratt. But first, we have our This or That.
All right. Hey, it's Jazz. So most of the documentaries that we've covered have dealt with some type of farm or factory setting that deals with agriculture. I'm curious from personal experience and what we've learned and seen so far, if you'd rather work on a farm for animals or a farm for produce. Understanding that there's different types of animals that you could be working with, like hogs or chickens, cows, and different types of produce like strawberries, potatoes, etc. What are your thoughts?
So I'm going to go produce farm. And it's hard because after we've done so much research and the past discussions that we've had recently, and we focused a lot on like animal farms in general, and like we talked about hog farms last week, all that's just very fresh in my head right now. And it's just a lot. It's a lot. And obviously every farm is different. You know, we talk about a lot of like the big corporate farms who are hurting the environment more than anything. But I still just think I would rather be in a produce farm type of environment, picking different things, trying different vegetables, if you will, different recipes. I just feel like that'd be easier. What about you?
I agree with you, but I think for me, I really feel like I'm choosing produce because I cannot work with animals in that capacity. If it was really, I feel like I've always felt this way, but if it was really on me to have to, you know, get the animal for my meat source, like live and in person, I really think I would be a vegetarian of some kind because I don't want to have that relationship. I really feel like it would be too much, just personally dealing with the animals in that way. But I would be really interested, like I do enjoy gardening in some aspects, so it would be interesting to see what working on like some type of, you know, or dealing with produce, some type of farm in that way would look like. I imagine like just being outside in the sun and like those kind of like exposed fields would be a lot harder.
Right.
You know, just kicking up dust. I mean, I get a lot of steps in, but, you know.
Kicking up dust.
I think I just,
you know, we can experience this. We can go on a weekend and we can volunteer at a produce farm.
I think we should. We gotta.
Yeah.
Before it gets too cold, you know, the season's kind of changing.
Right. I think now we'll have to wait till springtime, but maybe that'll be a special episode we do, Jazz and Sage at the produce farm.
Well, we'd love for you all to join in on the conversation as well. We'll be posting this week's This or That question to socials. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Equal Portions. That's EQUALPORTIONS, Equal Portions, both on Instagram and Facebook. So excited to see you there. But yeah, let's hop right into Dolores.
Right. So the focus of this film is Dolores Huerta and her role as an activist and community organizer. The film begins with an intro into Dolores' background. She was born in 1930 and she grew up in Stockton, California. She married young, but was not very traditional in the sense of only wanting to be a homemaker, which was kind of expected within her community at that time. She came from a single mom who was a businesswoman and a force within their community. This upbringing was very influential on how Dolores sought to live her own life. In 1955, she met the community organizer Fred Ross. Ross was the co-founder of the Community Service Organization, and he brought Dolores into the community organizing world. From there, Dolores became a well-known activist and organizer. She drafted legislation, and she lobbied on behalf of the CSO. While her methods may have been unorthodox, she made great progress and gained notoriety throughout her work. So a little bit more history. Dolores met Cesar Chavez in 1955. At the time, Cesar was the CSO's executive director, and both shared a passion for improving the lives and fighting for the rights of farm workers. They focused on organizing farm workers in different places under the CSO. However, both decided to resign because their efforts were not in line with the mission of the CSO. In 1962, Huerta and Chavez founded the National Farm Workers Association, NFWA, the predecessor of the United Farm Workers Union, UFW. One of the major historical achievements the documentary highlighted was the first signed union contract between farm workers and growers. The UFW signed this contract into existence in 1966. It was a landmark victory and gave better working conditions and wages to the farm workers. This occurred during the Delano grape strike, which began in 1965. This strike was in protest of the poor working conditions endured by the farm workers of the Coachella Valley's grape vineyards. The strike was started by the Agricultural Workers Organizing Committee, AWOC, a predominantly Filipino labor organization. The Mexican National Farm Workers Association, NFWA, joined the strike a week later. It's a lot of acronyms. In 1966, under Dolores and Cesar's leadership, they combined to form the UFW, both those organizations, offering many services such as immigration work, credit unions, and other support services for the farmers in addition to the fight for better conditions. The conclusion of the strike in 1970 marked a successful stand by the UFW and resulted in agreements between the workers and 10 vineyards. Over these 5 years, 17 million people stopped eating grapes. The combined effort of leaders across cultures showed how interdependent all of the political movements at this time were. Dolores helped open people's eyes to the human cost. Before, the environment and the human elements were not as connected. There wasn't as much focus on how the pesticides affected the health of the farmers and their families. The documentary also delved into Dolores' relationship with Cesar Chavez, as it was a complicated relationship but seemed to be one of respect. They often went back and forth over their differing viewpoints. Cesar was surrounded by a lot of yes men and not individuals who would challenge his authority, but Dolores always did. She also faced much resistance to her leadership in the union, and there was a lack of regard to her contributions as UFW VP because she was a woman. The lack of respect and regard also extended to her personal life. Many didn't agree with her choices as they viewed her being a divorced woman with many children who worked extensively as a mark against her. After Cesar Chavez passed in 1993, she was not chosen to succeed Cesar as the head of the union. In the following years, Dolores was essentially pushed out of the organization she helped form, but she continued with being an activist and community organizer for different causes, such as women's rights and her own foundation. In 2012, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, as well as the Order of the Aztec Eagle. What are your thoughts, Jazz?
So my first thought in general was, wow, they really did write her out of my history books. I think it's crazy to think of the fact that I've never heard of Dolores Huerta and just how impactful she was to human rights, but farmers' rights as well, and just how much we see that affects us as consumers and that affects us as people. I was really motivated, I think, in seeing her fire and seeing her determination and her commitment, I think, to her mission. A few philosophical notes that I had captured from the documentary was that this was Gandhi's philosophy, but you cannot help people unless you live like people. And really, the documentary questioned a lot of the effects that farmers have on the consumers and vice versa. How important it is to ingrain yourself in community. We have a tendency to want to be really comfortable, and I think there's a lot to consider when you think about what it means to give your life for other people and to be, concerned with other people at the same like, I guess in the same way that you're concerned with yourself. Obviously, like, you know, there's a lot of things that are happening in society where people may not have the same regard for themselves. Sadly, I think there's a lot more cynicism that's happening. But it's really important to be, you know, concerned with other people and not just to have, you know, a life that you're not, you know, considering other people. And we'll talk a little bit more, but curious what your initial thoughts were as well.
Yeah, I want to go off that part that you were just talking about the aspect of her living with other people and making sure that she is having, like, you know, these similar experiences so that she can understand more. She picked up her family, like all her kids, and moved them all to be closer to the farm workers on these vineyards so that she could truly experience, like, as much as she could, what life was like for them, so that she could understand the people that she was doing the work for. Because it's like, if you don't actually understand the people that you're doing the work for, it's like, how do you know their exact needs? How, you know what I mean? How do you know day to day what would help these individuals the most if you're not actually there? There's only so much you can do from, like, an office far away when you're not connected. And she also really tried to instill that type of sacrifice into her children too. And I feel like for me, the theme of the movie was the film, sacrifice. Like, you know, what am I willing to give? What am I willing to give for other people? What am I willing to give in terms of time? What am I willing to give in terms of legacy? Sacrifice is literally what comes to mind.
Absolutely. Because, you know, there's only so much that I think empathy and impact can even extend to if you're not, you know, doing the work and not talking to the people, living like the people. Then, like you said, you're not going to know the needs, and you're not going to have really that much of an effect, because you're really going to be out of touch at that point.
Exactly.
Wanted to talk through some of we had mentioned, like, the labor agreement between the Shinley Corporation and the National Farm Workers Union. And, you know, they were talking about a lot of things that are really staple things. And I am also curious, I think, to do a little bit more research as to how this affects labor unions overall, like not just farm workers, but just overall, because you'll hear a lot of things about, like, really poor working conditions and, you know, for the greatest country on earth, like, you would think we would be, you know, treating people better. But things from, like, rest periods, toilets, you know, access to toilets in the field, clean
so
drinking
crazy.
Water, hand washing. I mean, there's so much. There's a whole list. Protective clothing against pesticide exposure, which was another huge thing.
Right.
And just, like, banning pesticide spraying on the workers while they're in the fields. I mean, we were just talking about that last week where they're spraying hog waste onto, like, regular, you know, people living in the community.
I'll never get over that.
They're actually spraying the people that are working and the people that are like picking the produce, and then you only think about the effect that has, like you said, on their family, but then also, like, the communities that they're living around and the consumers, you know, for that part.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so many things that we kind of take for granted these days, because it's, you know, we're living in a time where a lot of people did a lot of work, you know, in the 60s to basically make sure that we have so many of the things that we have now. Like, I mean, it was really just such a decade of change and pushing forward. But yeah, we just don't think about things like, rest periods, like things that are just necessities that the average person would just need to get.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. Need to get through the day.
So back to Dolores's point or your point about Dolores's sacrifice. They talked a lot about Dolores's love for music and dance, and it was really sobering, I think, to just see, you know, the passion that she had for this, and even, like, for her family. But to see, like, that, you know, you can't have both at the same time. You know, Michelle Obama has this, you know, quote that, you know, you can have all the things, but just not at the same time. And, you know, the need for her to be an advocate, to be a voice for her community, and to push against all of these organizations, like, she did have to sacrifice, you know, some of her passions, even some time with her family. And I think at the end it was really brought together nicely, where it was like,
Yeah.
she is the dancer on the stage, or she is a dancer on the stage of justice. So she still is getting to do what she loves, and she was able to also reconcile. We can talk a little bit about that as well. But yeah, I think sacrifice is a huge thing, and I think that's like a question I kind of want to pose to you. Like, what does it mean for you to like really sacrifice, or to like, you know, give up your dreams or your passions in hope of something bigger than yourself and for people?
Yeah.
You know?
I just think that you really have to believe in the cause. Like with Dolores, with Caesar too, like this belief that the cause is just the most important thing. That's what has to wake you up in the morning. That's what has to like keep you up through the long hours when you're missing out on things with like your family or things with your friends, or when things with your relationships are starting to fall to the wayside. You have to just think the cause.
Yeah.
Because I think that she felt very, one track. I think she felt very grateful for different elements in her life. And I think that she wanted, like, you know, other people to be able to just get probably a smidge of maybe what she felt like she had. Because we did talk about how she grew up with, like, you know, a successful mother who was a very strong person and was a focus point in the community. And I also read that her mother would let people stay in her mother had like motels, and she would let people stay for free. So growing up in a household like that, I think that probably really makes you a selfless person. And then you're like, okay, well, I was so blessed to have this. What can I do? And then she also talked about how even though she loved dancing, she loved people more. And
we don't love people too much.
Exactly.
Dolores needs to know our history so we can start loving people more.
No, for real. So she's like, I love dance. I'll still dance, but the people is what calls to me. Getting them what they need. So her sacrifice all just felt worth it, and it has to feel worth it for each individual person, and that's obviously going to hit a different way for each person. But yeah.
Another point that was brought up was the importance of, you know, strategy when it comes to making change and implementing change in any way. And you also consider, you know, what is allowed because of race and class and the effects of economic racism, because at the end of the day, it is cheaper to continue, you know, treating people poorly. But if you know that your mission and what is most important to you, what the goal is, if it's money, then obviously that's, you know, going to show in the way that you treat people. But if it's people, then
that's a good point.
Then you'll really see the effects of that. So a couple other thoughts to kind of share, or like to track through. September 14th, 1988. Dolores Huerta was beaten by a police officer, and they actually showed the video. She did not need to be beaten. It was very peaceful. This was a peaceful protest that was happening in San Francisco. They beat this woman, 3 broken ribs, emergency surgery that removed her spleen. And it was really like hard to see. She was sick for months. I think this is the part where it was like, it was really, I think, a beautiful moment that was able to be used because her family they were able to reconcile, and they were able to spend a little bit more time. So it's like, that was nice that you're able to see that, but it was really horrible that she had to experience that for what?
Right.
To make a statement, to make an example out of her. It was just very disgusting to see.
Horrible.
It's just really hard, and it was really blatant. Like, there was a literal video, very blatant. She was doing nothing but standing there.
That's how it often is. And I mean, like you said, she had to give her body. She gave her body to the cause. And then after this incident happened, she slowed down a lot. a lot after it, because she just wasn't able to, do as much, like not even just in the recovery process, but even with like her organizing, it seems like it was a transitionary period when this occurred. Yeah. And this was kind of getting
Oh, go ahead.
I think we're about to say the exact same thing. I think I was about to say that.
That was around the time when Cesar Chavez also had passed, and so
exactly.
Yeah. And she ended up leaving.
All streamlined.
Yes, she ended up leaving in 2002, but in 2003 she was awarded the Puffin Nation Award, and it's so crazy because obviously the way she lives her life, she's awarded $100,000. What she's gonna do with this money? She's gonna put it back into her community. She's starting the Dolores Huerta Foundation, which was a grassroots organization that was really about extending her efforts that looked like training people to be, training her community to be community organizers, and focusing on issues from feminism to environment to policy. And it was like a real true full circle moment.
Full circle, yeah.
To have people training up behind you to continue the good fight. And mind you, Dolores Huerta is still alive. She is still 94 and kicking, but it is beautiful to see that there is going to be even more behind her that are continuing this great mission.
Right. Especially, I talked to Jazz a little bit earlier about this, so this is the first time for the viewers probably, but the documentary, the ending really, before the foundation part, it really bothered me because, we spoke about how she was removed from the history books, it feels like, because she's not like touched on. She's not known as like the main founder of the UFW, and she just did so much. And it just bothered me. It bothered me so much, the lack of recognition. And I know that recognition is not everything, but it does mean something. Exactly. It's history. It's you did all this, and it's just like, you should be recognized for what you did. The accomplishment shouldn't just go to the wayside. And then her not being made the head of the union, the director, after Cesar Chavez passed, I thought that was just crazy. This is a lack of respect.
Absolutely. And it's annoying and frustrating because obviously in that time, I think of all the other women that were, prominent figures, but were just not regarded or not respected and not platformed the way that they should have been because they were women. And, I think about today and, how many women leaders there are, and it's like, wow, you see a little bit more progress, but it's a woman before her time. And she was in time when she needed to be in time because we needed these rights. But it's frustrating that people were just not receptive to that. In 2006, this is, I think when a lot of this, her getting written out of history started. She had made a statement. She was going around schools, talking with people. And she had made a statement, Republicans hate Latinos. And this was really poorly received. Obviously it was received as negative and received as hate speech. And so the Texas Board of Education actually removed her, and they voted to remove her from the state curriculum. Outlaw ethnic studies overall. This was also a decision that Arizona
Craziness.
had made. And I was really, really confused about what ethnic studies even means. I think around this time they were also downplaying her, calling her Cesar Chavez's girlfriend. And they had a working relationship, but they were not romantically involved. So
it's just so disrespectful
really that they, like you said, they didn't recognize her. She's a co-founder. She's the vice president of this organization. Why are you playing in her face? But it's absolutely essential to recognize both the roles that they're playing in this organization, but just in general, you cannot write out women. You can't write women out of history and call it women's studies or ethnic studies or
exactly
whatever. I thought that was so crazy. This is American history. She is an American-born woman. This is American history. She's fighting for American rights, or farm workers' rights that are affecting Americans, the consumers. This is, I don't know what you're talking about. This is American history. I don't know how you're writing her out of history. I thought that was so crazy and really frustrating. And I'm really thankful, I think, for films like this that are spotlighting this.
Right.
Are really telling history. It is a little bit unfortunate that we have to seek out history that be told to us, but I'm very thankful for these types of resources and these types of media sources that are platforming this and highlighting this.
And that we get the opportunity as well to platform and highlight this. It's like we're learning just like everybody else is too. And it's like the fact that like now we know and we get to tell our listeners, and hopefully you all can tell more people too. So we can't let people be forgotten.
There's two last quotes, one from Dolores. All that a person has is his or her story, who they are, what they've gone through, what their families have gone through. This is their story. When you're trying to deny them from their story, you're taking away their power. And then from Roberto Lovato, when you hear Dolores Huerta talk about the erasure of Indigenous, Black, and other memories in our history, it's really about the struggle for memory, the memory that emancipates, or the memory that enslaves. You don't have to cower to power. One of Dolores's key, optimal slogans throughout the film was "Si se puede," yes, you can. And it's really important to not let people take away your power and to be really firm in knowing that truth. Yes, we can.
Right.
And I wanted to pose one last question for us. What does it mean to have real power? I think a lot about the conviction that she had and the faith that she had and the community that she had. And it was a total commitment to make this difference. And, no matter, there was a 5-year period of this strike and it seemed like it would, never end. And you have all these people that are making money, and you have Governor Ronald Reagan that's out here buying grapes, trying to deter from the strike, sending them to the soldiers out in the Vietnam
doing
War,
Reagan things.
Doing Reagan things, trying to make a statement. But, amidst all that, there's still a commitment to this difference. There's still a conviction. There's still a faith. There's still a community. And they got out of there with some contracts, okay? So, I'm curious for you, what does that mean to really have power?
Yeah, real power to me is being able to make things happen, being able to make change happen.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of people who want change, and, talk is talk, but action, to me, that's real power. Can you action the things that you want to happen? Can you get people to basically, buy in? Can you get people to be like, this is an important cause. This is something that I really believe in, and I want to get this pushed forward. Because they could have sat and talked about all these ideas endlessly, but they had the power to actually gather people and make it happen.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, money only goes so far. Money talks, but it only goes so far. It's not that deep and inherent of a principle, I think, to really outlast time and to really outlast real power, real conviction, real faith. I think that's really in the people, and I really believe that. And this is so interesting because I think in watching this, it felt really timely for election time, because
yes,
tomorrow's the last day. It's election day, and I was really leaving this film understanding, the importance of using our voice and not being discouraged because it takes time and it's hard. But it's important to use our voice because as a people that are convicted, that are together, that are firm, we can make change. So we'd love to kind of get into our election talk.
Yes. As Jazz was saying, Tuesday is the last day. That's election day. Get out there, please. It is so important to vote. It cannot be hampered enough. It cannot be hampered enough. And if you're in Virginia or Maryland, they have day of registration for voting. So if you're someone right now who's thinking, oh, I didn't register, I forgot to register to vote, and you live in Maryland or Virginia, you can go to the polls and you can bring just any piece of information. It could be a utility bill, it could be a lease. It just has to verify your address. Even if you don't have a license, if you have this, they will be able to register you at the polls. For more information on this, you can go to Virginia and Maryland's polling websites, and they'll provide you with information. We'll also post links to this information on our Facebook and Instagram so that you all can read more about it and get the exact details. But it is just so important to vote. We haven't had the true vote for that long. And as we know, there's still groups out there, people who try to, prevent people from voting. I mean, even now, people are burning votes in the boxes. So if it wasn't important, people wouldn't be trying to prevent you from doing it. People wouldn't want you to not vote. And by not voting, you're choosing to not participate in the process, and decisions are going to be made either way. Like we talked about change. We talked about having the action, doing the work, not just speaking about it. So if you want things to happen, you have to vote, and you have to vote on all levels.
You gotta use your voice. But we'd love for you all to continue to catch or to check out the Dolores film if you haven't seen it already. Continue to learn more about her and her work. You can catch the film on PBS or on Amazon Prime. But we'd love to continue the conversation on socials as well. But thanks for having me.
Nice. Of course. And tune in next week as we continue our discussion at the Food Justice Film Festival. Jazz, what film are we doing next week?
Next week, we are doing Into the Weeds.
Into the Weeds. Monsanto. Fun. All right. We'll see you all next week. That was Swata with Durian Dreams and Infatuated Dreaming. The ritual of sitting down at a Mexican restaurant and excitedly waiting for the chips and salsa before your meal is a near universal experience. It's the perfect snack and palate prepper, a promise of the good food to come. In Southern Virginia, they expect this combo with an additional component. In the Norfolk area, you can often find your chips and salsa are also served with a white sauce. It's a sauce not often served elsewhere. This sauce is called Virginia white sauce, and this is the story of food, Virginia white sauce edition. Virginia white sauce is made of a combination of Miracle Whip, milk, cumin, oregano, red pepper, and garlic, with different spots doing their own twists. And it tastes like creamy, spicy, garlicky, kind of comparable to ranch. The sauce has to sit for 48 hours to let all the flavors properly soak in. It looks almost like queso, but you'll realize there's no cheese. Many credit restaurant owner Willie Jenkins as the creator of the sauce, as the sauce was said to have been invented at El Toro in Norfolk. At the time, the restaurant was the only Mexican restaurant in Hampton Roads, and so for the individuals in that area, it was a lot of people's first exposure to Mexican food. Early on at the restaurant, no one actually had Mexican heritage or descent, but the cuisine was rising in popularity in general, and so it found a foothold. The sauce started as a salad dressing and can be described almost like a spicier version of ranch. However, it wasn't long before folks started dipping their chips in the thick sauce. Virginia white sauce is still highly regional to the Norfolk area, but has expanded to other parts of Southern Virginia, going as far north as Richmond, with a few rare spots beyond, and has even been found further south in parts of North Carolina. In 1990, Jenkins sold his restaurant, and the sauce passed on to other restaurants in Hampton Roads. In 1995, a group of Mexican-American restaurant owners came to Virginia Beach. Miguel Lopez, Jesus Torres, and Ruben and Rural Leon opened the first location of a local Mexican restaurant chain, Plaza Azteca, on Holland Road in February 1996. At first, Plaza Azteca did not know what this white sauce was that everyone kept requesting. At this point, the sauce was entrenched in the locals' taste. It became something Mexican restaurants in the area had to have. However, the sauce that Miguel Lopez created utilized a more traditional Mexican approach, as his version of the white sauce incorporated his roots from the state of Jalisco in the western portion of Mexico. His recipe includes jalapenos, milk, crushed peppers, and fresh onions. Many chefs and owners who currently have restaurants in the area, such as the restaurant Casa del Sols, have employees who got their start at Plaza Azteca and were exposed to the sauce. They had carried it with them, and so the sauce continues to spread, and now it is even served back in parts of Mexico amongst these family members who came to Virginia. So although Virginia white sauce is not traditionally Mexican, this fusion of cultures is what the states are all about. On its best day, this is what America should represent: a combining of ideas and cultures, a fusion. Virginia white sauce might be uniquely Virginian, but it adapts and it bends. Perhaps one day it'll spread to other parts of the region. Until then, I'll enjoy my white sauce and chips on my trips to Richmond.
As always, I'm your host, Seychelle Amira, and we thank you for joining us on Equal Portions. I want to give a special thanks to our producers and co-hosts, Zion X. Richardson and Jasmine Lawrence. We hope you enjoyed the episode and continue to stay up to date with us on our socials.